Hey y'all, iRick's Guy here, and I wanted to give everyone a follow-up review of the iPhone 6 Plus. Now, this isn't a fancy video. I just wanted to talk about some of the observations that I've made after using it for a few days. Now, one thing you'll notice, and this is the iPod Touch 5th generation in a somewhat bulky case. You can see it's pretty much elevated, quite elevated rather. Just look at the amazing size difference between the iPhone 6 Plus and the iPod Touch 5th generation, which is basically the size of an iPhone 5 or iPhone 5S. I mean, huge difference. So the first thing that I noticed, at least when I put this in my hand, I almost felt like it was like a joke or something, because it feels so ridiculously large when you're moving from, in my case, an iPhone 5 to the iPhone 6 Plus. And when I first did it, my immediate reaction is that, maybe I should have gotten the iPhone 6, because the iPhone 6 is still larger than the iPhone 5 Plus that I was upgrading from, or the iPhone 5 rather that I was upgrading from. But then after using the iPhone 6 for a few days, I began to like it better than any iPhone I've ever owned. And the main reason is that with this larger screen, you're getting a lot of benefits that you'll start to discover after you use it. One of the biggest benefits for me is when I go into the mail program. When you turn it sideways like this, you see your email, your list of messages to the left, but then you have your like a preview of your email to the right. So that's a really nice feature. One of the other things that I like about it is well, just the interface in general, because if you tilt it sideways and you're using just the desktop, makes your desktop look really nice. You really have access to a lot more. Your visual space is a lot larger than it is on the older model iPhones or the smaller iPhones like the iPhone 6. When you're in your applications such as Messenger, etc., you're going to notice icons for the people. It looks a lot cleaner. When you're in Safari web browser, you're going to notice if you tilt it sideways, you're going to have tabs at the top. And that's just a few small things that I've noticed already. Now, obviously, the resolution of the iPhone 6 Plus is 1920 by 1080. So if you're not familiar with 1920 by 1080, that's full HD. So that's your full high definition quality. When you're dealing with the smaller iPhones, you're not getting full HD. So if you're watching a movie that was recorded in high definition, when you watch it on your iPhone 6 Plus, it's going to be a very good viewing experience. And that's another thing I like about this. When I'm on an airplane or whatever, especially with this case that I have right here, I can pop out a stand and I can watch the movie. Just a very good visual experience. So from an interface improvements perspective, I feel that the iPhone 6 Plus is better. It's better for me because I can use this and I don't really have the need for an iPad and a phone. Still use my MacBook Air and I still use my desktop iMac for most of my edits. But this is big enough to where I personally have no need for an iPad or an iPad mini. Just the size of it is just, it's easy to use. Now, one thing I have noticed is that using it one-handed, whereas with my previous model iPhone 5 it was easy to do, this one you've really got to stretch your fingers out a lot more, and I've got big hands. So normally I've discovered I've used this with two hands. Now, one thing that's good about this is the enhanced battery life, and that's something I haven't mentioned already. This is a beast, and I haven't really put it to the test yet, but my battery's never died. And that's nice because with my iPhone 5, I had an extended battery backpack, and that added bulk to the phone. Sure, this is a bigger phone, but it's still slim even in this ruggedized case that I've got it in. And you can check this video's description for a link to order this case that I have. I feel this is the optimal case, and you can see it's got ridges right there so it better grips your hand. Shouldn't fall out of your hand. Just a really good ruggedized, semi-ruggedized. It's not waterproof, but a semi-ruggedized case. And one thing I also like, it still uses the lightning connector for charging. So if you previously had an iPhone 5 or an iPhone 5S, it's nice to know you don't have to go out and get more charging cables, because I've purchased a ton of those third-party charging cables, and I don't want to have to buy any more of those charging cables. So this is just a really good upgrade. Now, one thing that you may want to be aware of, and this will fit in my pants. I mean, I put it in a pair of shorts, I put it in a pair of jeans, and it'll fit in there without a problem. That was something I was originally concerned about, is this too big to fit in my pocket? But what I normally do, though, when I sit down, and I think the rumors about the iPhone bending are hyped in a negative way, but when I sit down, I take it out of my pocket. Not because I'm afraid it'll bend, but because I just don't want it in my pocket when I'm sitting down. So if you're on the fence, my best advice, try them both out. And keep in mind, if you're like me, after using it for an hour or so, you still weren't convinced that it was small enough. But at least for me, after using it for a few days, it now feels natural. So size shock. You know, when you're upgrading from something this size, initially it's going to feel big. But like anything else, after you wear it for a while, use it for a while, it probably doesn't feel as big. So I hope you appreciate this feedback. Feel free to drop me a line with any questions you may have. I'm not an expert, but I do use the iPhone 6 Plus, and I like it a lot. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe. YouTube.com/IRIXGuy. Y'all have a good day.